So you think you've got what it takes to be a successful trader? Well, here's something that might surprise you. The biggest wall you're going to hit isn't the market itself. It's the person staring back at you in the mirror. See, the real fight isn't on the charts. It's happening right between your ears. Mastering market volatility isn't really about charts and indicators. It's about mastering your own mind when things get crazy.
And it all starts with your motivation. You have to ask yourself, why am I even doing this? If the answer is just to make a ton of money, you might be starting on the wrong foot. The real traders, the ones who last, are in it because they love the game. They're fascinated by the puzzle of figuring out where the market wants to go next. The money, that's just a byproduct of being good at the skill.
And right on cue, here comes the villain of our story, volatility. You know, those insane, unpredictable price swings? They feel like they are specifically designed to test you, to wreck your emotional control. Volatility is the force that turns your careful, strategic game of chess into a gut-wrenching emotional roller coaster. It hijacks your brain and swaps out logic for pure, raw fear and greed.
But here's the good news. You can learn to navigate it. You can learn to tame it. So in this explainer, we're going to break down a framework for you, a way to understand volatility, get a handle on your reactions, and build a system that can actually thrive in it. Okay, first things first. We have to understand what we're actually up against. Let's take a look at what's really happening inside your head during those sharp market moves and find out why they're so good at crushing new traders.
Now this quote, man, it's so direct, isn't it? It calls out this huge flaw that so many of us have. We get stuck in analysis paralysis. Sound familiar? You spend hours, maybe days, watching videos, reading articles, but when it's time to actually pull the trigger and place a trade, you just freeze. While volatility absolutely loves to exploit that hesitation. And this just lays out that whole downward spiral perfectly. A crazy, volatile move throws your trade into drawdown and boom, panic sets in. We've all felt that knot in our stomach. That fear makes you close a perfectly good trade way too early, or even worse, you hold on to a loser for way too long just hoping it'll turn around. And a big loss, especially if you were over-leveraged, that can trigger what's called roid rage, which leads straight to reckless revenge trading. And at that point, let's be honest, you're not trading your system anymore. You're just gambling. So if the market has different moods, your approach has to change with it, right? You can't use the same exact tactics in a sleepy, quiet market that you'd use in a totally chaotic one. So let's look at how to adapt to these different environments. You know, the trading day itself has these two distinct personalities. The AM session, especially around the New York Open, that's the wild session. That's when the big money, the banks, the hedge funds are making their moves. You get higher volume, higher volatility, bigger moves. The PM session, on the other hand, well, it's often described as slow as shit. Price action is way calmer, which means your strategy has to adapt, maybe by focusing on much shorter time frames. And here's an even clearer breakdown. See that little window in the AM session? It's called the macro kill zone. This is often when major economic news drops, and it can cause these massive, violent swings in price. The PM session, though, that's a longer, much slower grind. Knowing the difference helps you pick the right battlefield for your specific strategy. And here's a pro tip that's going to test your discipline. Sometimes the smartest trade you can possibly make is no trade at all. Seriously, on days with huge news events, the market can move so erratically that even the best systems just fall apart. The best risk management is to just sit on your hands and watch. It's not easy, I know, but it's what professionals do. Okay, so how do we fight back against emotional decisions and unpredictable markets? The answer isn't some secret magic indicator. Nope, it's a rock-solid, repeatable system. This is your shield. This is your armor against the chaos.
The thinking here couldn't be clearer, and it all boils down to this one simple number. 1. The path to consistency is not paved with a dozen different strategies from a dozen different gurus. Why? Because you're just spreading yourself too thin. You never master anything. It's about committing. One mentor, one strategy, that's it.
So this is your blueprint. Stop jumping from YouTube channel to YouTube channel. Pick one person whose approach really clicks with you and go all in. Master their strategy until you know it inside and out. Turn it into a checklist, a system for your entry, your exit, your risk. And here's the most important part. Spend more time practicing on the charts than you do consuming new videos. That's where the real learning happens. And let's talk about a critical piece of that system, the stop loss. Most new traders see a stop loss get hit
and they feel like a total failure. It's not. You have to reframe this in your mind. It's like being a poker player. You know you're not going to win every single hand. A stop loss is just you folding a bad hand. It's a smart, strategic decision that keeps you in the game for the next opportunity. It's business. It's not personal. So, where do you actually put it? Well, it has to be based on logic. It has to be at a point on the chart that proves your trade idea was wrong. You need to give the trade breathing room to wiggle around so you don't get stopped out too early. And on those really wild, volatile days, if you're going to trade at all, you have to reduce your position size. I mean, significantly. Here's another super practical tip. During high volatility, the spread, the difference between the buy and sell price, it can get huge all of a sudden. This can lead to what's colorfully called a trash-ass fill, where your trade gets executed at a way worse price than you wanted. A raw spread account can help with this. It usually has a tighter spread and a fixed commission, which can save you from those nasty surprises. All right, let's bring this all home. We've talked about psychology, we've talked about market conditions, we've talked about systems, but at the end of the day, it all comes back to mindset. What does a real winner actually focus on? There's a perfect analogy from the world of basketball. You see young players come into the league and they're focused on the cars, the jewelry, the lifestyle. But the legends, the ones who end up in the Hall of Fame, they're obsessed with the game itself. They live in the gym, perfecting their craft. It is the exact same in trading. If you focus on mastering the skill, reading the market, executing your plan flawlessly, all the rewards, all of that will follow. So, here's the bottom line. You have to reframe your goal. Don't chase the profits. Chase excellence. Chase the deep satisfaction that comes from mastering a genuinely difficult skill. The money, that's just the scoreboard. It's just the thing that tells you you're playing the game well. And that's the question I want to leave you with. Take a hard, honest look at your own approach. When you open up the charts, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? Is it about how much money you can make on this next trade? Or is it about applying your skill, executing your system, and playing the game the right way? Your answer to that question will determine your entire journey.